What's up, everyone? It's your boy, The Business, coming back at you live for episode 9 of The Business. Let's be real. Tonight's guest is going to be Ricky Showtime Quiles from Lorain, Ohio. Someone I got to know when I was young. He grew up with my sister. He was a super cool dude, and was very excited to be able to follow his professional career and get to watch some of the big fights that he had throughout his life, and then have tried to keep an eye on him ever since as well. And he's opened his own boxing gym and now is in the works of making a book and kind of telling his life story about the ups and downs of everything he's gone through in boxing and where his life has taken him to this day. So, with that being said, The Business, Let's Be Real, episode 9 begins now. Hey, what's up, champ? How you doing tonight, man? Thanks for joining us.
What's going on, man? How you doing, champ?
I'm good, man. Truly appreciate you being able to come on with us tonight. I know you're a busy man, and I know you got a lot going on, so I appreciate that you were, like I said, able to join me tonight for tonight's episode.
First and foremost, thank you kindly. I feel very honored. I've known you guys, especially your sister, went to school. By the way, I went to school with your sister the Palm Avenue days. Since we were like in kindergarten. You understand? So it's been many years. So I'm very honored. I feel privileged to be here with you guys.
And I appreciate you. Like I said, I appreciate you coming in and joining us tonight. I know, like I said, I know you're busy, and I just wanted to kind of get you in and kind of go over some, Q&A with you about your career, how it all started, when you kind of got interested into boxing, what made you get interested into boxing.
Right.
And then, kind of run through some of the fights. I was going through your whole career the last couple of days and kind of have watched some old fights that you had before, just because you and I were talking and we wanted to, when we touched base on some things. So, I guess if we could start off kind of about when you first started in the boxing game, kind of. I know you were young, you were about 6 years old when you first got into it. Can you kind of talk about what some of your influences were into getting into boxing?
Well, here's the thing, man. I'm from South Lorain, Ohio, South Side, and we're Puerto Ricans, Us Puerto Ricans, we love fighting, we love boxing, and this is so weird to say because my age, I don't feel 50, bro. But 1975, 76, we lived over there on 32nd Street by Palm Avenue School, and my father, my uncles, they had a punching bag in the basement. They had a boxing gloves, punching bags, and they were always in the punching bags, boxing and watching all the fights on TV. And I would go downstairs, and you gotta remember this is 1976. I'm a 6-year-old kid, even younger than that, but I kind of started boxing at 6 years old. They're doing drugs and drinking, and I was just navigating myself through the crowd in the basement to the punching bag, and I would just start hitting the punching bag. My Uncle Freddie would come and teach me a couple moves. And what really happened was I just started doing it every day. It was like a stress relief for me. It wasn't because I was angry or because I wanted to hurt somebody. It was more because I was just good at it. I loved it. My friends would come over. My cousins would come over. My family members would come over. And they'll put me to box against them, even the older kids, in my basement. So it was like a fight camp, And some of my friends were scared to come over to my house because then my uncle, my stepfather, my dad would throw me in let's fight. And I got into fighting like that, And Freddie Barrios from Lorain, Ohio, who's still alive, is probably like 86 years old right now, opened up a boxing gym on 33rd First Street. There used to be an old fireman's house, fire station on the
Yeah.
corner right there
Hmm.
back in the days, and they turned that into a boxing gym. 2 blocks away from me, I would walk in the rain, the snow, to the gym, and I'm the youngest guy there. And like Manuel Rodriguez, um, Ruiz, um, all kinds of older guys I used to look up to and fight in the gym. I was like the little mascot in the gym. And I kept on with him, man. And um, I got into all these big tournaments. And when I was about 12, 13 years old, silver gloves. And I was winning all these tournaments. And my mother kept on telling me, man, this is a phase you're going through. This is stupid. You're never going to make money. You're never going to be anything in life in this, you know? My dad left when I was 8. I had nothing in my life going on. I wanted a father in my life. And I just kept boxing. That's kind of what fulfilled me emotionally, physically fulfilled me, made me feel some kind of self-worth. And I entered this tournament, the Cleveland Golden Gloves, 1985. I was 15 years old. Now back then, we didn't have computers. We didn't have cell phones like we got now. So I lied. I said I was 16 because you got to be 16 years old to enter the tournament. So I lied, said I was 16, and there's 3 tiers. First one is um, green, meaning you fight people with no fights in that bracket. The second tier is novice, meaning you fight people that has a little bit of experience. Then the open division means you fight the best of the best, no matter how old they are, what age, how good they are. I put myself open division. I want to fight the best of the best. My first fight, Tony, swear to God, you have to fight about 6 to 8 times to win the Cleveland Golden Gloves to be champion. The first fight they put me in with a guy about 37 years old. I'm a 15-year-old kid. I'm a skinny little cat, right? So I go up to this guy's chest and they're announcing us. His hair from the chest is gonna hit him like I'm just a little guy. The bell rings, first round champ. It was like this. I see it coming. Boom! He broke my nose in Cleveland at the arena. My nose, blood everywhere. I'm looking at this guy. I see 6 of him. Boom, 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 boom. So I hit him. I hit him one good time here. So, but knocked him out cold. I fought with a broken nose 6 more times to win the Golden Gloves.
Holy smokes.
Yes. And
And
then,
I don't think people understand, like back in the day, the Golden Gloves were big for amateurs, and
yeah.
and they were big tournaments. Like you would have to fight 6, 7 times. Like I don't know how big it is today. I mean, I'm sure that
Well,
it's
to win
broken
the
down
Golden
some.
Gloves, every state, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Kansas City, Missouri, everywhere. Every state has Golden Gloves. When you win the Golden Gloves in your state, then you go national. All the states combine together, and then you fight each other. You know,
Yeah,
so it's huge, especially if you plan to turn pro. You have that the accolade in your background is that it's huge, you know?
yeah, that is huge. Well, and then that was you won the first one, but then you went on to win 2 more, right before you turned pro.
Okay. I ended up turning pro at the age of 18, you know?
Okay.
I don't know how deep you guys want to get, but get deep or no deep, or I don't know, this is your show. I don't want to
No,
run.
no, no. Go ahead. Like I said, I have no timeline on you, dude. You talk as much as you want. You tell the people the stories, and I mean, because I know people want to hear it. So go ahead, definitely.
So, I told you my dad left when I was 8 years old, man. I'm the oldest of all my brothers and sisters. And I was very heartbroken, devastated. And there was a lot of, like I said, I'm coming out with a book. So I don't mind speaking about this, kind of brush over a little bit. Because it kind of made me who I am as a man today. You know what I mean? So basically, when my dad was in my household, it was me, my dad, and mom. We lived in my Palm Avenue school, which you have to believe you know where that's at.
Yeah.
And well, I went to school with your sister actually, and uh, there was always Puerto Ricans. We like that salsa music and that merengue. Everybody's drinking and they're all doing drugs. My dad would come home and be partying. All his friends from the U.S. Steel mill, because he worked at the U.S. Steel, would come over, and every single night I didn't get no sleep, and they would be partying, doing drugs and drinking. But the thing was, like I love my dad. I'm not here to assassinate my family's character, my father's character. It just is what it was, and it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad will get drunk every night and beat my mom, be screaming, beat her up in front of everybody. Sometimes there was nobody there to beat her up. She'd be screaming, she'd run to my room, bloody. I would hide her underneath my bed or hide her in the closet. So then my dad comes in all drunk, screaming and yelling. And as a kid, knowing now, because I lived like that when I was a kid, so it was like some kind of normalcy. Now that I'm older, it was very like PTSD. You get that PTSD, and that's just not normal. So sometimes he found my mother and beat her up in front of us, and sometimes he didn't. She would sleep all morning and get out underneath the bed or the closet. And sometimes I went to school, sometimes I didn't. So it caused a lot of mental pain when I went to school, and I would black out a lot.
Okay.
But my dad left, and when he left me, I used to go look for my dad. I used to go through Oka Park, which you know the park,
Yeah.
Oka Park, to 28th Street right there. All the bars, knock on the door, bar to bar, bar to bar. I always wanted to go back on Pearl, and I found him. So I didn't. But when I did, he would come out and just give me a hug and, hey, what you doing? It'd be rain, snow, no matter what. I would always go look for my father, man. And just pat me on the shoulder. Okay, bye, love you. And I would look at his fingers. I would look at his hands to find some kind of identification that I had a father in my life. Because I was so ashamed, embarrassed in school. And when I get home, I'm always looking for my father. I catch an ass whooping. And unfortunately, like I said, I'm doing a book, so I could talk about this. But I'm a very private man. I never spoke about these things until the past couple of years. I was able to open up a little bit because doing this book kind of brings some kind of healing to me.
Yeah,
But
it's probably
because,
taking a big weight off of you being able to really talk about it and being able to open up with the book. So, and I'm glad that you're getting this platform too to talk more about it and
yeah,
kind of put it out there and
yeah,
let people know.
yeah. So, when I went home, I got beatings. And so a lot of physical abuse, from my mom and my dad when we were younger.
Hmm.
And when I say physical, I mean not like today. If a kid gets physical the way I got, burning with lighters, um, whips with extension cords, kicking in the face while you're sleeping, like very abusive shit. And unfortunately, because my mom was the one that got abused a lot from my father. My father was very abusive verbally, mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically, but more so because my mother was the abuser. She abused us kids more like burning and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So boxing was my outlet, man. It was my outlet, and it saved my life. You know.
But luckily, you did find an outlet, and
Yeah.
you put your focus into that, because I think that, yeah, like you said, it saved your life, and it was a big part of who you became. It structured you, it gave you some discipline, and it made you be able to live the life that you have, man. And I mean, we're all just lucky to be kind of a part of witnessing what you've become, and all the trials and tribulations that you've gone through, and you've come out better on the other side, man.
Right. Thank you. I really appreciate that, brother. And so like I said, I was winning all these tournaments, man. At the same time, I was lost emotionally, and um, at the age of 14, all my friends, Rob, Ruben, the twins, Cello, Angel, all of us, they were throwing a big party. 14 years old. First time I decided to drink with my friends. And I like to call it the three, my fingers over, the three M's. The first time I drank, it was magical. Magical. Meaning, when I drank, I got buzzed, I got drunk. I felt loved. I felt cared for. All my problems went out the window. My friends were my family. And as time went on, it became my medicine. Meaning, every time I was sad, I needed a drink. Every time I was down and out, I needed a drink. Even when I was happy, let's get a drink, you know? And at the end of my drinking and drugging, it became my medicine. I mean, it became miserable, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And at the age of 15, I found cocaine. Snorted coke with my friends and drinking. It's like alcohol and cocaine is like boyfriend and girlfriend. They go hand to hand together. I did that for 22 years, man, of my life. I've been sober now, coming up on 16 years.
Oh, man.
Which was the biggest gift that I ever gave to myself. I'm gonna shut up. I'll let you ask some questions. I like.
No. And the thing we'll get into more of, I guess, that side of the boxing game too, because I know you started at a young age, and it was kind of part of the territory of where we grew up at.
Right.
That was just part of, like I said, part of where we grew up at. We were introduced to alcohol and drugs at an early age, and I don't know, you probably didn't see last week, I kind of went into my personal story and kind of tell my personal story. And I broke it down. I'm breaking it down into a 4-part and doing like every decade, like 10, 20,
Right.
30, 40, you know what I'm saying? And I talked about how, going to Palm Avenue when I was a kid, but when I was at Palm Avenue closed my first grade year, and that was like kind of the end of Palm Avenue. And Palm Avenue came back, and and just I talked about how great it was when we were young, growing up there. Like it was such a cool place to be. We had all the good music and fashion, and we had all the beautiful people there, and it was just just part of the culture there. And I'm glad that you're kind of touching about that. I talked about Oakwood Park and how Oakwood Park was the place to be when we were young. And that over the summers, man. I mean, we would go there, and everybody was there. Everybody was at Oakwood Park.
Like we said, we didn't have cell phones back in the days.
No.
So we wanted to go find our friends. Either
you
went
had
to
go find your friends,
or Oakwood Park, one of the two.
That's true.
Mostly Oakwood Park, everybody was there. Basketball courts, the swimming pool. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. Your sister definitely will. But Oakwood Park Hill, we used to go sledding on.
Yeah.
There used to be a ice skating rink right below it.
Yeah, I know where the clubhouse is at. That it was like right there next to that.
They knocked down the clubhouse, but there was a clubhouse there, and then you used to go there. People like when you had to do your ice skate, they had a fireplace in this little clubhouse. It's just a wooden shack. Everybody used to go in there and get warm, and then leave and go ice skating. Like it was in between the Oakwood Park Hill and the swimming pool. Yeah, the ice skating rink. It was dope.
I remember it. I remember exactly where it's at though. No, that's what I'm saying. That was a cool time, and like I said, it kind of led to I know, where it put you at, and I only did the first 10 years of my story. I'm gonna do, from 11 to 20 next, and it'll probably come into play about, being back in Lorraine, because I talked about me moving to Florida when we were young, and then we moved back to Lorraine later in Stephanie's high school years, and I was still young at the time. I was still in elementary school, so then I was able to then live the life almost kind of, in the same direction that you went into. And that's what, so I understand where you're coming from as far as that part goes. To hear about, the situation of how you guys grew up, that's always tough. Nobody can say they know where you're coming from with that,
Right.
because of the fact that each and everybody's circumstances are different. You know what I mean? So you can't ever say that you understand where somebody's coming from when they're talking about how they grew up personally and what was going on at their home. So I commend you for kind of talking to us about that and kind of coming out about that story. And like I said, we'll touch more about the stories of, like I said, the boxing situation. My kind of thing was to kind of bring you on and have you tell your story, and then all I was going to do was just throw in some questions kind of really about the boxing career, and kind of then let you flow about all that kind of stuff. What I mean? So you talked about the Golden Gloves, how you came up in the system. You had won a couple Golden Gloves, and then at the age of 18, you talked about turning pro.
Correct.
And then in let me see, because I did write down something about you turning pro. In that first fight, it looks like you fought Chris Lucas. Is that correct?
Yeah. So my first fight, I fought a guy, Chris Lucas, who was kind of, had a couple of fights already. My first fight, but I had to go to his hometown in Baltimore. I believe it was Baltimore. And so I had to go to Baltimore to fight him. And it was an African American neighborhood, ghetto as hell. It was in the little arena. And I walk in there. I'm coming out. This is when I got my boxing outfit on. I come out the arena, and they booed the shit out of me. Boo! And I didn't see a white person there besides me, my friend, and some of the people I was with, the Puerto Ricans, and my coach and all them, Freddie and all them. And the fought Chris Lucas, man, the first 2 rounds, they booed the shit out of me. The 3rd round, I started kicking his ass a little bit. The 4th round, started beating him up more. I almost knocked him down. In the 6th round, I think the 8th round, they were screaming for me. And I ended up beating him. I beat Chris Lucas. And that was the start of my journey as a professional fighter.
No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I kind of wrote all that down, like that you won by unanimous decision, that you guys fought out in Baltimore. How excited were you able to finally be able to call yourself a professional boxer?
I felt extremely proud. Coming from where I come from. B, I felt like I started the beginning journey of my dream, trying to become champion, and I was just excited for my future about that, because in the Golden Gloves, I don't know if you know who Ray Boom Boom Mancini is.
Oh yeah.
3-time world champion from Youngstown, Ohio, which is from Cleveland, about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
So you come to the Golden Gloves, and you see me fight at the Golden Gloves. I'm a southpaw. I'm not no Mike Tyson, one punch knockout artist. Boom, boom. No, I'm just a slick motherfucking road. Make you miss. Like the Matrix, make you pay. Bop, slick shit. And so he would watch me fight. He said, "I want you to come training camp with me one day." And then my last Golden Gloves, 1987, I was 17 years old. He flew me to Las Vegas. He was getting ready to fight Hector Macho Camacho, who used to be one of my good friends before he passed away. Boricua, Southpaw. So he said I kind of emulated him. So he paid me like $1,500 a week, everything for free, food, everything, and I was hanging out with all the celebrities in Vegas and learning the ropes. So when I came back from 3 months of doing that, I had 4 fights, 4 professional fights, and then I decided to leave Lorraine to go to San Diego and train with some of the best boxing trainers there. And I had about 15, 16 professional fights at the Great Western Forum where the LA Lakers played. And all the celebrities came to all the fights, and I loved LA, and most of my fights have been there at the Great Western Forum.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is that I was reading through the whole list of all the places you fought at, and you
Right.
fought, early in the career, you fought you fought in Baltimore to start your career, and then you fought in Cleveland a couple times. And
Lorraine,
you actually fought back in the Palace in
yeah,
late in
yeah,
Lorraine at one time, and but for the most part, yeah, most of your career was fought in California.
correct.
Um, so I knew kind of your attraction to California. You fought a lot of times in Miami, sometimes in Arizona.
Right. I
You
did a
know,
little bit of everywhere.
yeah. So it was kind of cool, like I said, to just read, even reading that in the last couple of days and just going over that. I'm like, wow, look at this, and I mean, it had it step by step from like I said, like 80, what was it, 89? I think was when you started in your
Correct.
professional career until until the end, and it was so cool to look at it all. And then, like I said, I've been YouTube and all the fights that I could get my hands on still, and you and I talked about the Edner Cherry fight, and we'll chat about that here in a few, because I want to kind of keep stepping through, like I said, I'm crawling through your
Right.
career, so I'm walking through, like, when you first started, you kind of went, and I guess when you talked about the Boom Boom fight, and when Hector Macho Camacho, when he fought Hector, and you were kind of, I guess, in Boom Boom's training camp as the replica of Macho Camacho, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And I mean, I guess if you could kind of explain to people what that's like to be a sparring partner, and kind of give people the image of another great professional fighter like Hector Macho Camacho, because I mean, I know a lot of your style was very silky and smooth, like Camacho was. And
Right.
that's, I mean, if you could kind of talk about what it's like to bring that to a training camp, and kind of, give that to somebody who's working to try to fight someone like you.
So what transpired was Ray really liked my style, Ray Boom Mancini, and he wanted somebody. He wanted to get a couple sparring partners to emulate something like a Camacho type southpaw dash six style. So he bring me on board. Now I'm just a kid from South Lorraine. I ain't never been nowhere before, you know. So to go to Vegas and train with him in the casino, actually, it was random, at the casino to build like a little gym so everybody could watch. It was to see the professionalism at the highest standards. Um, Gave me a lot of inspiration. Um, and I felt proud, and to be a sparring partner is a good way to inspire with the best fighter in the world, Ray Boom Mancini, and in that weight class at that time was an honor and privilege for me to do awesome against him and to hold my own as a young kid. You know, gave me a lot of confidence. It opened my eyes to the professionalism of fighting and the professional world of being a professional athlete, the money they can make, and the hysteria of all the people that come in, it's being recognized everywhere you go. It was really cool, and I said that's what I want. So I kept on with it, man.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, back to your professional career. You talked about how you had fought Chris Lucas, and then I know you had some fights throughout the years after Lucas that led to 1998 when you fought Javier Francisco Mendez for the World Boxing Federation Championship.
Right.
That was your first chance of getting to go at a professional title.
Yeah,
correct?
and during this time too, I was doing a lot of drugs. Cocaine was my thing, and drinking. Unfortunately, I got caught up in it, and it was my thing. But like I said, boxing saved my life. I kept training really hard. I never boxed high or drunk because you get drug tested right after the fight. I will stop like 2 weeks before drinking and partying, and dry out from drinking and partying. So most of my fights I was never really was in the best shape that I could have been mentally and emotionally. I just lived off my talent. I wish that alcohol and drugs wasn't prevalent in my life. I would have been more further in my career and more saved a lot more money, etc., etc. But I did what I did and won 4 titles, which are right behind me, as you can see. You know, so but leading up to this fight, I got this opportunity to fight Francisco and for the WBF World Boxing Federation. I took it. It was a tough fight. I ended up winning the fight, and I felt very proud of it. I took that title home, had a big party, and then in South Lorraine with all my friends and family, and the town. They even gave me the keys to Lorraine, Ohio, the um, whatever you want to call it. They gave the what you call it out there? They gave me the keys to Lorraine, Ohio. So I got the keys.
Yeah, to the city.
Yeah, to the city exactly, and so it was really cool, man. That was the beginning of really skyrocketing in my career.
No, that's awesome. And it's funny because I'm getting some comments from some of the guests that are watching.
Okay.
Some people are saying Justin Stanton saying good stuff, fellas. DJ Rivera's representing Southside.
Yeah.
And there's just all coming on. And I remember when you won your first title and you did come home with it, and everybody was excited for you. Like, it was such a cool thing to have one of our own be called a champion, you know what I mean? And we all appreciated that because of the fact that I don't think you ever lost where you were from, and you always represented for Lorraine, Ohio. I know at certain points, of course, they would probably wanted you to throughout your career to represent just Cleveland and
yeah. So I never said I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. You know what? That's one thing about me. I stick to where I'm from. I'm from Lorraine, Ohio. Born in Lorraine, Ohio. Raised in South Lorraine, baby. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I was born in the St. Joseph's Hospital on Broadway, and that's where I'm from. A lot of people, when like even when I meet people that are from Ohio, I'm from Cleveland. Not me, I'm from Lorraine. And I educate people. Where's Lorraine? It's just, Cleveland's our big city. We love Cleveland Browns, etc. Indians. That's a big city, but I'm from Lorraine, which is about 30 to 35 minutes outside the city. So every time they announce me from Lorraine, Ohio, always by way of California or by way of Florida, but I always said Lorraine, Ohio, always. Never denied it, never will.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm the same way. I've been. Hold on. My mic's saying muted. Am I muted? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
My mic's saying muted on my screen, but that's okay. If you can hear me, that's all good. Out here, it's kind of the same way because a lot of people don't know where Lorraine is, and those that are, they're kind of like they raise their eyebrows, like, "Wow, you're from Lorraine." And I'm like, but it is what it is, and like I said earlier, it was such a cool place to be when we were young.
Yeah,
I never doubted and denied Lorraine. Like, I always appreciate it. I love the people from there. And any of the people that are from there, they'll tell you whenever their birthdays come up or they post pics of them and their family. I'm always liking it, and I know you do the same. You know what I mean? I
Right.
see you all the time, calling your friends and wishing them happy birthday and singing happy
Yeah.
birthday to them, and you know what I mean. And they truly appreciate that, because of the fact that if it was, if it wasn't that way and you didn't still show respect and love to the place, they would kind of be upset and salty about it. So
Yeah,
no,
it's just my little thing I like to do too, like on Facebook. Call my friends, take a picture with them, click, and post it, Because here's the way I look at life, man. Like, I think that for us human beings, we're just visitors here on Earth. And when we leave this planet, we cannot take our jewelry, you know what I mean? We can't take our belts. We can't take our cars, our home, our money. We can't take no materialistic shit. But when we leave here on this earth, we can take memories that we created and we leave memories. So for me, that's the way I leave memories with my friends. You know what I mean?
oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, I guess you talked about the Francisco fight and how you were able to win your first championship. I know you had a chance at a vacant title for the WBC lightweight championship in '99. I know
Right.
you didn't
Was
win
that
that one.
Gregorio Vargas?
Yeah,
Gregorio Vargas?
like was it?
I think it was Gregorio Vargas. Yeah. The me and Camacho fought on the same card.
But later that year, in September of that year, though, you were able to then you had a shot at the WBO NABO light welterweight title against
Yeah.
Cosme Rivera.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and then
that fight came out the blue. So what happened with that was, I was training really hard. I was living in Florida at the time. I was in training camp, and called Pahokee, Florida, which was in the Everglades, and I would run along the little rivers in the back with all the alligators and shit. It was crazy, but I loved it though. And I got to, they gave me this opportunity to fight Casimir Rivera, who, by the way, is a way bigger dude than I am. And I was fighting lightweight. This is a 140, and it was going to be at I think it was at Caesar's Palace in Lake Tahoe, which the elevation was really high. So I flew in a couple of days prior, and everybody said I was. His coach was Jimmy Montoya, who Jimmy Montoya was like the head coach at the time. Everybody said, "Oh, you're gonna get your ass whooped," and I fought this guy, man, Casimir Rivera, and I ended up beating him for the title. It was a good fight, but I outslicked him, and I ended up becoming champion again for the second time.
oh, that's awesome. I knew, like I said, the fights that you kind of have lost in that past at that point
Yeah.
were still, I mean, very close bouts.
All of them were also like my new close. There's like two or three of them I definitely won, but they gave it to the other guy. And again, these are some of the regrets that I have in my life. One of the biggest regrets was just partying a lot, not taking my craft as serious as it should have, being lost emotionally, spiritually, and drugs and alcohol fulfill those gaps for me. And I'd rather go out and party and hang out, have a good time with my celebrity friends and my friends, even some of the big boxing names. You know what I mean? I partied with Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya. We all did our thing, and we did it together. And so that stunted me from being the best that I can be mentally, emotionally, and physically. And it cost me by this much. And that was enough to lose a couple fights because I was tired, I was gassed, I wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
And those things I regret still, a lot today. And still kind of haunts me a little bit that I could have won these fights. And like I said, been on a bigger platform in my life in the professional game of boxing. And but again, it is what it is. I'm sober now, so it's all
Oh
good.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, and I'll tell you what, like I was like I said, I was reading through the whole career and kind of read a lot of the fights as like you were in every single fight that you were in. I mean, I know only one early fight in your career that you got knocked out in, and that was it. And then other than that, everything that you lost went to decision. Like, so it wasn't like
Well,
you ever kind of
the
got
last two Brahma
into a
Shaw,
situation. Go ahead.
right?
Sorry.
The one that they stopped to fight, last two Brahma Shaw, he was an undefeated. He was a beast, and it was I think it was like my sixth fight
Yeah,
maybe.
you were young. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
exactly.
my
I'm
sixth
like,
fight. He had like 15 fights. He was like 50 or something like that, like 15-0, 12-0 with 10 knockouts. He was a beast. But I fought him, and at the Great Western Forum. And I got knocked down for the first time ever in my life. Street fighting or boxing. I ain't never been knocked down in my motherfucking life. Ever. So this guy knocked me down with the body shot. My solar plex here. I went down. I got back up. We're fighting. I went down again. I got back up. And I could have kept going. This is the thing about it. I felt like I never been stopped around. Nobody ever knocked me out ever. I was good, but the referee ended up stopping the fight for whatever reason because they got knocked down twice. I was very disappointed, very disgusted about it. I had to get over it. It took a lot for me to get over that. I did, and the rest is history. But it is what it is, part of boxing.
but I mean, you never, like I said, you never, and you said what that was fight number 6 in your career, and you never lost another fight to a knockout, like
Ne-
or TKO
Never,
or
never.
anything. You know what
And
I mean? Like I said, it
I
was
should have been knocked out for that fight. He was
yeah,
beating me by like this. I did get knocked down twice, but it shouldn't have stopped the fight because I got knocked down. You know what I mean?
sure, sure.
And it was a very premature. I was so upset about it because I felt like I could have kept going, going, going. But again, that was the
Sometimes
main,
that's the heart. That's the
main
heart in a fighter. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep
yeah.
fighting regardless if they should
But
be
to,
or
to
not.
be to, to be fair, I did get hurt, but I was really sound, really mind. I knew everything was going on around me. I was on point with everything. I was shocked, but I was on point. But it is what it is, and
Oh yeah,
these
oh
things
yeah,
happen.
definitely. The let's see. I know I talked about the WBO, your WBO championship. After that fight, when you fought that Cosme Rivera, and then after that, I know you fought Vince Phillips in 2000, in April 2000, and you
I
guys had a draw.
defended my title.
Yeah, can you kind of go into that Vince Phillips fight?
So
Because
here's the thing
Vince
with
had
Vince.
a big record. I mean, he was 40-5 at the time. Like he was.
He was a 3-time world champion. So what happened was, before I turned pro, I fought Vince Phillips in the Nationals. I beat him in the Nationals. So we knew each other. When he turned pro, he was a beast. He won like 3 different titles. So I had my NBO title. I defended my title against him in his town in Louisiana, and I went there and we fought. I lacerated him up with. And he got all cut up. I almost knocked him out, which I'm not a big puncher, but I was in tip top shape. And they gave that fight a draw, which should have been a draw. I should have won that fight, but I kept my title. I was able to keep my title. He didn't beat me. And
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you say that you actually fought him in his hometown because usually, if it's a runaway by the hometown boy, it's a win. If the other guy beats him, it's usually a draw.
that's why exactly what happened. I was so just devastated about it, but again, boxing. What are you gonna do, man?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I kept my title and I kept rocking forward.
No, definitely. After Phillips, now then you fought Mark Suarez, who at that time he was 18-1. Uh,
Right.
and you beat him by a majority decision. Can you
In
talk a little bit
Chicago. I'll never forget that fight. That boy was a big boy. And I flew to Chicago from Florida, and a lot of my family members, that's when me and Camacho fought on the same card. And my family members drove from Lorain, Ohio to Chicago. And Mark Suarez, he was a beast, but I beat him too, man. And you know, so it was cool.
And then after the Suarez fights, you then made a trip to Puerto Rico, fought a couple of fights in Puerto Rico. How was it? How was that experience for you as a Puerto Rican American to be able to go to Puerto Rico, to go to
It
the,
was
the
so
island,
dope.
and to be able to do
It
that?
was amazing, man. When I got there, they treated me with lots of love. A lot of the Puerto Ricans, they know about boxing. They love boxing. It was dope, man. I stayed in Condado, right there in San Juan, and I was the main event in both fights.
Okay.
And they introduced me to a young up and coming Puerto Rican fighter by the name of Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto only had like 2 fights, right?
Yeah.
So he had a little afro at the time, Boricua, and
Yeah.
I'm the main event. And he come in my dressing room, watch me stretching out, and just sat there and didn't talk much to me. Just sat there and observed. And another fighter too, who became a big champion in Puerto Rico, Ivan Calderon, who they call him Iron Boy, who was like a flyweight champion. They both were on my card in Puerto Rico. So it was amazing, man. I fought in Puerto Rico. My family members in Puerto Rico came to see me. It was really cool. It was in San Juan, on Pier 10. It's called Pier 10 in San Juan.
Yeah.
And I was in a big arena, and it was really cool, man. And I had the privilege of going back and doing it again in Puerto Rico.
That's super cool. I know then after you were able to fight in Puerto Rico, you had come to, I want to say it was in 2003, then at this point, when you finally got a shot at a WBC light welterweight title when you fought Arturo Urena. And then can you talk about that fight when you finally got to fight for a WBC title, and what it was like when you
Yeah.
accomplished
So
that goal?
I knew this guy at Arturo, he was the beast. And I believe this fight took place in Omaha, Nebraska. It was in Omaha, Nebraska, down yonder. And um, I fought this guy, man. He had like a Mack truck, you know what I mean? He was the beast. I think he was like 20 some wins with 19 knockouts, somewhere in that ballpark. Anyways, he hit me hard, man, but I kept trudging and uh, did my slick shit, make him miss, make him pay. That stopped the rain flow. And I ended up beating him and won the title for WBC title, which is the green one right behind me.
I was gonna say point to the green one above you, because I was
Yeah,
gonna say that's a
right,
WBC
right
championship.
there. I know.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So that was a great opportunity for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of propelled me to the upper echelon.
After that fight, then I know you fought a couple more fights, and then you had a chance to fight Elio Rojas, who and you and I talked about it the other night when we were chatting on the phone. You talked about how he was like this big up and coming
He was
fighter.
like 30 something wins, 30 something knockouts. That guy was a beast. And
Yeah.
he only had one loss, Eloy Ross, and I almost knocked him out in the 4th round. I couldn't finish him, but that was a strong fight. Again, that was at the Hard Rock Cafe Casino in Florida, and Fort Lauderdale, right there. There's it just sprung up the casino, and I was one of the first fighters there to fight in that casino, and I fought Elo Ross there, and it was a tough fight, man, but I ended up winning that fight too, so that was a blessing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then after that fight, I know you and I talked about the Luis Villatala fight, the Villata fight.
Velata, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that fight, and I watched it the other night, and then I watched it again today, and it was a good close fight, and I it was hard to score on the judges' cards. I know probably in the first early rounds, and then I want to say like middle of the seventh round, you fired a fastball down the middle with the left hand, and you popped him square in his face, and he kind of tried to shake it off like it didn't hurt him. And you and I know in the boxing game, whenever you say no, it doesn't hurt, that means it hurt, kind of thing. And then I want to say in the eighth round, you started to attack the body, and you then took control of the fight and continued every round. You were adding a little bit more. You were attacking the body, popping back up to the head. 9, 10, 11, 12, like the crowd's just kind of really going crazy every time you would attack them and corner them. Talk about that fight, and then I know you and I chatted about it, and you probably, if you can go into kind of the aftermath of that fight, and then where your career went after that.
Well, when I got the opportunity to fight this guy, Luis Villatala, who, by the way, was the champion already. He's the one that held the belt, which is, I don't know if you can see it, this one right here. You know? That belt right there. So, when I fought him, can you see me? Hello?
You're good. I just put you full screen. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. And I couldn't see you, so I got lost. So, anyways, that belt right behind me is Luis Villatala. That's the belt that I won. So basically, he's a man from Peru, living in New Jersey. He's got like 3 kids, and his wife is in Peru with the 3 kids, and he was supporting them, man. He was a beast. He was like knocking out everybody, and so I trained really, really, really hard for this fight, and I knew that it was gonna be a tough fight for me. So we get in a boxing ring, and I believe this was at Coconut Creek, or it was either Coconut Creek or Hard Rock Cafe Casino. And it was in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, for his title. And it was more easier than I expected. I was just boxing a lot and trying to be slick, but he caught me with some good shots. And as the fight went on, I felt stronger and stronger. I really never really talk about this because, it kind of bothers me, but, it's been so many years. But I hit this guy, and like the last round, I had him hurt. I told the referee out of my mouth, stop the fight, he's hurt. And like I felt something in my spirit and my soul that there was something wrong with this guy. Anyways, when the bell rang, I already knew that I won the fight. I thought I won the fight, and they announced me. And the new champion, Ricky is. I'm like, yeah. And then I started to cry, emotional. I grabbed this guy's hand, which I don't think they showed it on TV. They probably cut it out on YouTube. But I grabbed this guy's hand. I lifted his hand up, and I paraded him around the boxing ring. As a sportsman, we got a standing ovation, right? So I have his title for like half hour. I gotta give that title back to him. And how this works is they send me a brand new one with my name engraved in it, etc., etc. So I get to keep his title that I beat him for like half hour, take pictures. So I'm in my dressing room. He goes to his dressing room. I go to my dressing room, which is right across the hall from me. I'm celebrating. There's Mike Tyson's with me. Oscar De La Hoya is with me. And I'm celebrating now. I got a big after party to go to with all my friends and family and people celebrating, All of a sudden, man, I hear these people screaming, and I hear all this commotion. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But my coach, my management, didn't want to let me know what was happening because they didn't want to um, ruin my moment of being a champion. And then all of a sudden I started hearing the ambulance, woo, 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 woo. Like, what the fuck's going on? And sorry, am I allowed to cuss or no? Huh?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, don't worry about
Yeah.
that.
Sorry, guys. Uh, anyways, my coach finally told me, man, Ricky, this guy collapsed in the dressing room. Now, like I said, I'm not in boxing, so I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm just really good at it. I'm just really good at boxing. I'm not here to like hurt nobody in that way. So I was devastated. His people ran into my dressing room, grabbed the title from my hands. Sorry, Ricky, and they left. And I canceled, like, cause I'm a good dude, man. I got a good heart. Like, I canceled my after party. I went home for 4 days. 4 days I stayed in my house. He died on the fourth day. So when he died, I uh, I said I'll never fight again for the rest of my life. And this is at the height of my career, making lots of money, champion. I quit boxing for a year and a half, almost 2 years. So I'll never box again. At this time, I got to start drinking, drugging, and partying, and I really was at an all-time low in my life. For the first time in my life, I was really down now, spiritually and emotionally, man, and it took a lot out of me, you know.
Yeah. No, and the thing was is that I kind of wanted you to tell that story because when you and I talked about it the other night, I felt it, you know what I'm saying? And I felt how even till this day you're still, grieving over that situation. And then you talked about how you went on to, walk away from the sport, and you walked away from it for a few months. And I think that started I think the process then for you at that time, to find a better way for yourself.
Yes.
And then so I guess if you want to kind of talk about that and kind of talk about where it took you personally to get yourself motivated to get back in the ring.
Well, like I said, I took a lot of time off, man. Like I said, I thought I'd never go back to boxing again because of this man's death. Um, and so one day I was living in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, not too far from the Hard Rock Cafe Casino. And I'm drinking, I'm doing drugs with my friends, I'm high. And my friends came over and they were like, Ricky, we want to watch this fight. This guy by the name of Ender Cherry, the Cherry Bomb. He's not up and coming, 21 years old, Haitian guy from Haiti, living in Florida. He's a beast. In fact, he's up and coming and he's taking your spot since you're not fighting no more. Just watch the fight. I said, nah, man, I don't want to watch this fight. Because I don't watch boxing no more. I don't want nothing to do with boxing. And they said, well, he's fighting the guy you fought before. And I was like, so that kind of piqued my interest. Although I'm high, I'm drunk, I'm drinking. I was like, the hell with it. Okay, but I'll put this fight on. And the Cherry comes out. First round, pop, knocks this guy out cold. And in my mind, I'm thinking, God damn, this is a beast. Thank God I never fought a son of a gun like him before. Because he's a beast. My buddies asked me, Ricky, what do you think? He's a good fighter. I was like, yeah, he's okay. Because then, I try to play that macho role. You know what I mean? And I kid you not, bro. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from my manager. Brrring, brrring. I answer the phone. Yo, what's up? What's up? He said, Ricky, are you ready, Ricky? Are you ready? Ready? Ready for what? To be number one in the world again. Now, at this time, I'm at an all-time low in my life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I'm burning through all my money. I'm doing drugs and drinking, and I have nothing going on in my life. Nothing. So I jump off the couch, and I just start throwing punches. I said, hell yeah. I want to get back in the ring. I'm ready. And who do I got to fight? Who do I got to fight? He goes, got to fight Ender Cherry Bomb Cherry. The guy I just saw fight 2 weeks ago. And I was like this, I'm going to call you back later. Click. Because I was like, I ain't getting my ass whooped or getting knocked out for nobody. And I was so scared because it's going to be live at the Hard Rock Cafe Casino on ESPN of getting knocked out that for the first time in my life since the age of 14, I stopped drinking, doing drugs. And the first time, never, ever, all my training camps always went out and partying and stuff. This one, I was scared of getting knocked out. I trained so hard for this fight, man. I would run in Florida at 2 o'clock in the morning with a big belly, and I gained a lot of weight. And my spirit, my confidence, everything was just down. And like at the time, to be honest with you, I really wanted to commit suicide. That's how I felt. For the first time in my whole life, I ever wanted to commit suicide. But I kept training hard every night. And I would run the streets at nighttime in Florida through the palm trees and listen to the birds and look at the moon, the stars. And I would start praying to God, please help me, please help me. And I would cry along my journey of jogging because I was just mostly didn't love myself at all. And when I went to the press conference, the first press conference with all the media, the TV, the ESPN, they're saying, Ricky, you're 35 years old. Why are you going to fight this 21-year-old beast? You're going to get knocked out. And they passed the mic to me. And I'm like, he ain't going to knock the out for South Rain, baby. I ain't going to let nobody know that I have fear in my heart or know that I'm going to get knocked out by nobody. So I get that South Rain mentality. There ain't nobody knocking me out. I'm going to whoop his ass. But in my mind, I'm thinking, this guy's going to knock me the hell out, you know? So what happened was I stopped going to all the press conferences because they kept on telling me I was going to get knocked out. My own family and friends didn't believe I was going to win this fight. So I just kept training hard, and for 3 months, the second month, I got a 2-pack, right? The third month, I got a 6-pack. The first time I haven't drank in 3 months, and since I was the age of 14. I'm mentally, emotionally in shape. I'm in best shape my whole life. And when fight time came, there's about 9,000 spectators, maybe more, at the arena. And man, the bell rang. He comes out, he hits me with a couple good shots. He wobbles me from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring. I'm dazed and confused. I'm looking at this guy. I see 6 in the cherries. I said, hit that son of a gun in the middle. The guy in the middle. And that's what I did for 12 rounds. And I ended up beating him at 35 years old. And became number 1 in the world again at 35 years old. So that was a big highlight for me.
Well, you know what, Ricky, I'll tell you what, because I remember, like I told you when we talked the other night, I was like, dude, I was living in Florida at the time, and I'm not where I was living at in Lakeland's, not too far from Wauchula, Florida, but not too far from Wauchula, Florida, where Edner Cherry was from, and we had watched Edner Cherry's fights leading up to that fight, and I remember you were getting ready to fight him that night. And I told you I was working at a sports bar at that time, and was bartending and was excited to see you fight that night. I had him on all the TVs. We had I think at that time like 42 TVs in the place, and Ricky Showtime Quiles from Lorain, Ohio was on every one, and we were super excited because there was a bunch of people in there that knew Edner Cherry from Wachula, and then there was me who knew Ricky Showtime Quiles from Lorain, Ohio.
Right.
And I was trying to tell them kind of what was possible. Of course, they were going to scream about how big and powerful Edner was, like you were being told the entire time. But I knew the smooth and silky boxer that you were, and I tried to kind of warn them, like, listen, if Ricky's able to execute his game plan and take it to this guy and keep this guy from landing the big powerful shots, Ricky's gonna beat him, because Ricky's such a true boxer. Like, this kid's just a banger. Like, he was strictly just a brawler. He could hit hard, and he knew he could lure most guys into the brawl. And I didn't think he could do that with you. And luckily for you, he wasn't able to do that to you. He did early in the fight, like you said. He hit you hard, and he you know what I mean, made you see 6 of them, and you knew at that time, like, all right, I'm gonna hit the middle guy, because I know that, he's not moving as fast as the other guys are. And that was big, because like I said, it was so fun to watch. And as it was going on, people are looking at me like, dude, your boy's doing good. He's doing good.
Right.
He's doing good. And it was awesome to watch. And, by the end of it, they were all cheering you on, and they knew you had won. Nobody doubted it in the entire bar. And even in, like what I said, right outside of Wachula, Florida, like, all those guys even knew that you had beaten them at that point. And I thought you looked great. You looked like you were in good shape. You had great wind. And then, like I said, to find out later, I think I sent you a message about things, and we talked about that. Like I said, the Edner Cherry fight, and you were so like, oh, dude, it was like when it was the start of you becoming sober. And then when you became sober, then, like, I know you only fought a few more times after the Edner Cherry fight, but I think you were then, at that point, I guess you would say you were ready for the next chapter in your life. Is that correct?
Yeah, what happened was, man, when I fought, sorry, I had to charge my phone. My battery was being. So basically, what happened was, man, after the Cherry fight, because I was sober for 3 months. Remember, I trained for that fight, and so I didn't drink. When I came out the boxing ring, all my friends were Ricky, you're number 1 in the world. They were screaming, and they poured beer on my head. And the beer went like this. I swear, I'm not joking. This ain't no joke. It's serious shit. It went down my head like this. It zigzag. It went on my nose. I went. And because I haven't drank in 3 months, it kickstarted me, man. And I was up for 3 days partying. Being number 1 in not the United States, but the world. And I go to my home in Florida after partying for 3 days with all these people and just feeling lost. I go to my house is empty with nobody there, just me and God. And I just started crying, man. I'm like, what am I doing to myself? I'm number 1 in the world. And so I was dating a girl in Chicago. I flew to Chicago, and I decided to put myself in rehab. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell my coach, my management. I told nobody besides the girl I was dating. She helped me find a rehab in Chicago. And I went there for 3 months, man. For 3 months. And it was the best decision I ever did in my life. And so when I came out of rehab, I told my coach and everybody, wow, everybody was like, where is he? Where is he? And by the way, just to let you know, I ain't never lost my titles to nobody. No man's ever beat me for any of my titles. I never lost my titles to nobody. I lost a couple fights, never lost my fight or defending my title. I lost my titles by doing partying and not defending them in time, or I just relinquished them because they wanted me to fight at a certain time and I wasn't ready. So that's that. So after I got out of rehab, I went from Chicago back to Florida. I stayed in Florida for like 1 month. I ended up moving to Los Angeles, California, where I've been ever since. And I've been sober ever since, man. It was a difficult process, and but it was the best thing I ever did in my life. It was the best gift I gave to myself. So when I got an opportunity to fight a couple times, now I got the opportunity. And I was walking around 170 pounds. That's what I walk around, 170 pounds, 65, 70. They gave me an opportunity, and I was fighting at 140, and I couldn't make the weight no more to make weight at 140. I couldn't make that weight no more. Um, but they offered me to fight my good friend Nate Campbell. Well, Nate Campbell was a beast, and and it was for a lot of money, and more money than I ever made in my career. And I said, I'll take the fight. It's a part of business. He said it was part of business. He'll take it. But here's the catch. Um, the thing that was a downfall for me, that they want to fight at 135, and I couldn't make 135 to save my life. And but I said, I'll take the fight. So I flew to Puerto Rico to train. I trained in Puerto Rico in San Juan. Got in one of the best shapes of my life, besides the end of the charity fight. But I couldn't break 140. I couldn't break that 140 mark. So the day of the weigh-in, which is always the day before the boxing fight, the day of the weigh-ins or the day before the actual fight, right? So the fight's on Saturday, the weigh-ins are on Friday. So I go to the weigh-ins, I'm 5 pounds overweight. I couldn't break the 140. Couldn't break it. And they're going to find me. I said, but you get 2 hours to lose the weight before you get fined and cancel the fight. So I ran with those plastic moon suits on, the
Yeah.
plastic. I ran in Florida, I was in Tampa, where the fight was at. I ran in Florida and I almost fainted, man. And my coach said, Ricky, no, I got this. And I was so sucked up in all this is all white here, and I had nothing. It's called catabolic. By the way, I made for in 3 days. I got to make the weight. I need for 3 days. I'm running in severe heat with a plastic suit on Florida in the summertime, and I was just weak, so weak that they carried me back into the place. I ended up making the weight, by the way. And then Nate Campbell came and said, "Oh, you're weak. I got you." And then, again, you ain't got shit. I'm gonna kick your ass. But I knew that I was gonna get defeated this fight. I knew it in my spirit because I was so weak and I didn't have enough time to recuperate nutrition wise, you know, to get my strength back. So I was and I sparred with Nate Campbell many times. I whooped his ass many times in sparring. In the fight, first round, I did okay. Second round, okay. I walked back to my corner. The second round, I sat down. I couldn't get off of my chair. My body just went shut down.
Uh,
It just shut down on me, and I knew I was in trouble. But I'm a beast. I'm a fighter. I got up, and so I couldn't do no boxing skills. I didn't have that slick shit in me. That bobbing and weaving, that moving. I didn't have that in me. I
yeah.
couldn't even budge. So I stood toe to toe with Nate Campbell on his turf, toe to toe. That's what he likes. That was not my game plan. But again, my body was so weak. He knocked me down in the 11th round with a body shot. And I look up at the referee and I'm on my hands and knees like a dog on the floor. I look up and the referee was counting 1, 2, 3, and it sounded like this on me. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Like I was like in a twilight zone.
Yeah.
So I get up, I make the count, and I'm hurt. But this is live on ESPN, by the way. It's on YouTube as well. I start pounding my chest like you can't knock me out, trying to hype myself up because I didn't want to get knocked out. But anyways, the fight went the distance. Needless to say, I ended up losing the fight. I get in the ambulance. go straight to the emergency room, and the doctors told me, "Thank God, your body shut down on you, like before the fight. We don't understand how you're alive right now. We don't understand how you're still standing." And they 6 hours. I was in there for 6 hours. IV drips, IV, to give me fluids again. They said you should have died. And then with the blows you were getting, but I'm just a mentally tough human being, man. So I got
You're
lucky. And from there, after that, man, I decided that I'm gonna take some time off and travel. I went traveling around the world. I went to Asia, Germany, France. I went to Japan. I went to Australia. Just traveled all over the world, man. Getting to learn to love myself again and find myself. And I decided to open up my own boxing gym, and that's what I do now. I got a gym, and I train a bunch of celebrities. I train Will Smith, Shia LaBeouf, J.K. Simmons, Carmen Electra, David Arquette, Christian Ritter. Um, Seal, the singer Seal. Worked with Bon Jovi, like all kinds of people, man. So it's been a tremendous blessing for me. It's been um, another chapter of my life because I've been boxing since I was 6 years old and been a professional fighter for 20 years. It was very difficult for me to let that go, and when I did, I got really depressed emotionally, spiritually, and so that's when I ended up traveling to find myself again. Who's Ricky Quiles?
yeah.
Without the echelon of boxing and being in the boxing room with all the people and the crowd and people screaming, "Ricky, who's Ricky?" without that. So I had to relearn and restructure myself. And so I get a lot of gratification teaching people at the boxing gym, man, not to just fight and protect them, but just to love themselves. And so it's been a tremendous gift for me.
No, that's awesome. And I wanted to touch about that fact that since the boxing career, and then you opened up the gym, and I don't know if people understand that you opened up the gym in LA. So it was kind of a way to, stay where you wanted to be at personally, by staying in California and then doing something that you've done your entire life, which is the boxing game. And
Right.
you now have turned that into a profitable business for yourself by being able to train and help keep in shape a lot of celebrities, plus the everyday Joe, what I mean? The average Joe,
Yeah.
they come and see you from all ages. I know you're training some young kids. You've trained some adults.
I got a 76-year-old man I used to train that I still train. He's one of my favorite clients and everything. Henry Waldo, awesome guy. He came to me all broken like this. I swear to God, when he fought, when you tell him to throw a punch, he was like this. Now, 6 years. So those are my gifts that I get to see those people transform and find confidence in themselves. Those are my gifts, is to give away my talent and to see them feel good of who they are.
No. And that's what's big, is to be able to pass that knowledge on. You know what I mean? It's like I have the capabilities to pass on some of the baseball knowledge that I have now
Right.
to my
Yeah,
son.
yeah.
As far as the wrestling game goes, that I was big in the wrestling game when I was a kid, and I really didn't push that on my kid because I didn't want him to ever have to like live up to what we were when we were young.
Right.
Eric, when my uncle Eric, who was young, that was a star in wrestling, and
Yes.
you knew what I was able to do when I was able to wrestle. So I didn't want my son to have to worry about that. Like I was like, let's do baseball, let's do something different. He's actually got to see a lot of your stuff.
How
Because
old's your boy right now?
he's 9 now.
Okay, tell my son
Yeah,
what's up.
I will
And also
definitely.
tell your sister say hi. I don't know
I
if
do.
she's watching or not, but tell her say hi.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I told her that earlier in the week, and
Yeah.
my parent. I talked to my mom, and I told them I was coming out with you tonight, and they were like, "Oh my God, tell Ricky hello. I hope he's doing."
Hey, tell all them I said what's up. I send lots of love.
I would definitely do that, And then the only other thing I kind of really wanted to ask you about was the book. If you could kind of, I don't know how much you could tell about, what the title of the book's going to be, or if you want
We're still working on that, bro.
to. Okay.
Like, there's already my favorite fighter of all time is Sugar Ray Robinson from the 1940s and 50s, the baddest man on the planet to this day. And there's a show, like on you go to YouTube, Bright Lights, Dark Shadows. I was gonna name it somewhere in that ballpark like that, but I'm not quite sure yet what I'm gonna name the book. We just finished it. With, I was going twice a week, speaking about my life, my boxing career, detail by detail, for the past several months. And we finished it's just gonna be basically about my whole life from Lorraine to all over the world and in different places, and my boxing career and the trials and tribulations that my journey of life since a kid to where I'm at today and my career and so on. So I'm not quite sure what we're gonna call it yet, man. But I'll definitely let you know as soon as I find out.
That's cool. That's cool. And I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate you coming on,
Yes.
kind of talking about your story, telling the life of what it's like sometimes to be a boxer and go through those, like I said, the trials and tribulations of becoming a boxer, the life of a boxer. I know you touched somewhat on your personal life, and that needs to be said too. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what's big about your story is that you're pretty much have always been that way. You're raw, you're uncut. My show is The Business, Let's Be Real, and I think you're definitely real.
Thank you. And also, I do want to say this real quick, man. I deeply apologize if I offend anybody for cursing. I get my moments and I get excited. I'm a hyperactive human being, and so sorry for the couple of bombs here and there. And
Don't worry about it, dude. I mean, I curse quite often. I try to somewhat keep it clean if I can.
yeah.
I do, like I said, I do let them rip off.
Don't let
every
mama
once in
find
a while.
out. Un peco sapo.
But yeah, definitely. So like I said, I wanted you to kind of go through your career and give a shout out to your boxing gym, give a shout out about your book. And that was the whole point of kind of bringing you on, was to let people know about Ricky Showtime Quiles and the life of.
Thank you. I'm so honored and so blessed. Thank you, Tony. Love you, brother. Tell the family I said what's up. And to everybody that's watching, thank you for tuning in. And again, thank you, Tony, for giving me the opportunity to do this. I really had a great time, man.
Oh, no, I appreciate you, Ricky. And like I said, what I'm gonna try to do for the boy is I kind of get him all kinds of signed stuff from all the people that I have on the show. So I'm gonna try to send you out a pair of boxing gloves, and if you could just sign them for the champ and
absolutely,
send them back, man, I'd appreciate it.
What I'll do is I'll give you my address and see my address and everything when we're done here, and you can do that. It'd be my pleasure, man.
Sounds good, man. Hey. All right, what I'll do now is I'll put you backstage, Ricky. I'm gonna kind of do my outro and give my quote of the day, and then you and I can chat it up before you got to get going, because I know you're busy, man.
For sure.
Right, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys. Take care, man.
Yeah, that was Ricky Showtime Quiles. Truly appreciate the guy. I mean, it was so cool to have him on, like I said, and kind of go through his story. He's somebody that we can have on in the future, and he can continue the stories and just kind of indulge more and more about the certain times in his life, because of the fact that he was there, he did that, he made things and did things that not the everyday man got a chance to do, and he lived that life. And luckily for us in Lorraine, he was able to kind of share some of that life with us and give us a little piece of it, and gave us something to cheer for, because he was one of the hometown boys, and made it so much fun for all of us to keep an eye on him and cheer him on. And like I said, luckily enough for me, I was able to have him on and kind of tell his life, tell his story, talk through the boxing game, tell some of the places he's been. He couldn't even. I'm telling you, he couldn't even indulge into all the people he's worked with as far as the boxing game, and to all of the people he's still working with now. Like the list goes on and on. I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, I've just been witnessing it and try to always stay on top of it because, I mean, dude's a great guy, always been a great guy, always been able to somebody that you can contact and hit him up, and he'll reach right back out to you right away as soon as he can. And I truly appreciate the guy for coming on the show tonight. And you know, and putting it down because, like I said, he's a busy man. So, you know, but like that, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead into my quote of the night, and then I'll let you guys get out of here. My quote of the night is, "We cannot become what we want by remaining what we are." Remember that. If you want to, if you want to move forward in life, you got to be willing to take that leap and be willing to move on, because that's the only way you can become what you want to become. You can't stay the same, because that's never going to get you to what you want to be. So with that being said, the business, let's be real, episode 9, over, out.